You are now joining Cats on Guard, the most disappeared aviation podcast over the course of the past summer. If you're listening in the future, don't worry about it. There was no gap. But man, we have been busy since school got out and no time to record. So we're back quickly for maybe a one shot. I don't know, depending on how our topic today goes, how it unfolds. I may be back solo. I don't know. Co-Captain Richard Millian is going on a big trip, and I want to hear all about it because I have never done anything as crazy as this. So, Co-Captain, what are you doing?
It is an aviation milestone, bucket list, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to take a small airplane to Alaska from the Midwest.
How
So,
small an airplane are
a
we talking?
4-seat Cessna 182. It's actually the one I came and took you flying in.
Thought that might be the case.
Yeah, that's the one. So the joke, everybody I've texted about this, like, hey, what do you got any info for me? And their first text back is "Don't die." Literally just
Yeah.
2 words, "Don't die." And it doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. It really like, why is everyone saying, when people and everybody around you saying something to you, like, why are they all saying that? So is it
You know
that
why?
dangerous?
I don't know. Because none of us have ever attempted anything as crazy weird as this. Maybe. Probably some have. Maybe some have done it and they realize that they shouldn't have, and that's what they're trying to warn you off of. Or maybe they're jealous and they're just, I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's something I've never done. So I did long ago, I did fly an airplane across the southern states from Florida to California. There was some mountainage around, southern New Mexico, Arizona, that area. But what you're doing that's like flying over big time hills.
There's a lot of so we're leaving from Michigan. That's where the guy that I'm flying with, that's where his plane is. And we're gonna cross Lake Michigan, which is the first hurdle.
Well, that's
It's
usually pretty
70 miles
okay.
from one side to the other. So we're out of glide range for 20 something miles in the middle of that lake. But it's the summer. It's a Midwest June. Should be survivable if we had to put down in the lake. But anyway,
What, is that how you sold it to your wife?
yes, it
Should
is. So
should be survivable.
it's funny. So the wives are friendly. So they didn't want to sit in the airplane for any amount of, time. So they're actually going to fly up to Alaska on Delta and meet us there. So we have, we have 3 days head start to get there with an
And
airplane.
may I say, that's going to be more fun for you too,
I,
because
it feels like a lot of work, honestly.
I'm sure it will be a lot of work, but how much more work would it be managing these ladies?
No, in the airplane, they wouldn't. No, not only would they
Yeah.
not do it, but if we had 4 adults and all the bags and the survival kits, we could only put like 3 hours of fuel in it. So
Well, that's no
we'd
good.
be limited to stopping every 2 hours for 20 hours. That's 10 fuel stops. No, thank you. Logistically, with just the 2 of us, survival gear, and our bags, just our bags, we could fill up the tanks, which is 87 gallons. We burn about 12 and a half gallons per hour cruise. So we plan to go about 5 hours at a time, and then the rest be reserve fuel. So we're gonna go between 4 and 5 hours at a shot. But, so the first challenge obviously is the first flight out of here over the lake, and I think we could stretch our legs to Fargo, North Dakota, maybe?
That
Uh,
sounds far. I don't know.
600 miles direct from the east side of Michigan to Fargo.
5
So,
hours
yep. So,
into the wind.
and that's conservative. Yeah, into the wind with conservative. Everything I'm doing is on a 10 to 15% slush factor. I don't want anything to ever go to the other side of slush factor. So I've got everything biased at 10% slower, 10% more fuel burn as a safety factor for me.
And what altitude would we be flying?
Oh, so leaving Michigan, we don't have any terrain. We have a lot of wind farms, but we can't stay that low anyway. We're gonna go kind of mid out. It really doesn't matter to me what altitude. We'll stay out of the headwinds until we get to the lake. And before we get to the coast, to the east side of Lake Michigan, we're gonna climb up as high as we can go without oxygen. So that'll be 12,000 feet because the next westbound altitude is 14,000 feet. We need oxygen above 12.5. So and we're saving the oxygen for the Rockies. I'll get to that.
Boy. Oh, so
Yeah,
you're going to have some. You're going to have some on board.
we
But
do
it's
have
not a
oxygen
pressurized
on board.
aircraft, is it?
No, it's not. No. So our any air we have in our guts is gonna expand quite a bit up there.
My gosh.
We're gonna cross the lake and then probably come back down out of the headwinds as best we can. And then we cruise across flat old Wisconsin and into North Dakota. So that's the hope. Fingers crossed. Tomorrow I leave. We'll see how the weather cooperates. There's so many other ways we can go, but that's just the gist of it. We're just planning on hopefully getting gas and keep going. I'd like to make it to Montana by the end of the day. That's another 4 hours. That is like boring, straight shot, badlands, flat, nothing until you get to Montana. Then it gets sketchy. So we'll land in Great
Yeah.
Falls hopefully tomorrow night. And actually, I'll text you my tail number so you can track it.
Oh, that would be so fun.
You know, if
We
it if
could,
it
we could,
goes off the map at some point and does stops tracking, just call somebody for me.
yeah. No, I'm just pulling up a map here. Well, now, first of all, where are you going in Alaska?
So this trip we're gonna go to. We kind of got like a headquarters, if you will, like a mothership of Juneau. So we got
Juneau.
an Airbnb there, and well, VRBO, whatever, and all of our touristy flights are gonna to and from out of Juneau. So we'll go to little towns from Juneau as the weather permits. But if it doesn't, we can just drive around that area.
All right. And the reason I ask this, I just pulling up my map, Apple Maps, which doesn't offer driving. I'm sorry, it doesn't offer flying as a means of transportation when you pull up Apple Maps, which
Yeah,
that
because you
seems
ferries,
very
right? Yeah,
yeah.
ferries and car.
So I'm looking at the car map, and you say you're going to Montana. It does have you going through North Dakota, but then you go right up into Canada from there. So you're doing a little southern tour. Is that what you're doing?
We're gonna try to avoid Canada, so theoretically, we would
All together.
yeah. Yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna
what?
try. So this is all up in the air based on weather. If the weather along the Pacific Ocean is, that coastal layer where it's, like, low overcast for hours at a
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
if it's a low overcast with low tops, then we will fly up the coast at a higher altitude and fly IFR over the top of the clouds. But if those clouds are really thick, the icing layer starts around 7 or 8,000, which
Oh
yeah, not something I really wanna sit in for 4 straight hours with no we're out of glide range of short, certain times, all kinds of stuff that are risks, but that's like 3 steps down the road. So
and
the big yeah,
I imagine
go
there's no
ahead.
anti-icing equipment on this aircraft?
No, this one doesn't have that. It does have pitot heat, which is pretty standard. I think it's standard for all IFR airplanes, but, no, it doesn't have anything else to deter ice, so we can't get an icing. That's a big factor for this trip. Icing would be clouds above an altitude where the temperature is close to freezing, if not at or below freezing. So,
Alright. I don't wanna
we're
get
gonna
ahead
avoid
of
that.
ourselves. I don't wanna get a
Yeah.
I'm curious about that portion of your trip, but we're not there yet, so
No, well, let's get to Montana, hopefully, and,
yeah.
hopefully, I think we'll be tired enough to get a good night's sleep somewhere. Maybe Montana, maybe short of Montana, but my number 1 goal for the 3rd leg, so, to cross the Rockies is I'm doing it during the day. I am not doing
My
the
gosh.
Rockies at night. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not doing it at night
How
because yeah.
yeah, how tall are they out there where you're traveling?
So, the northern side where Montana is, we could be at 10,000 feet, clear everything safely.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Are there airports up there if you need one?
Yeah, mostly our ditching options are roads and rivers.
Huh?
We have survival gear. I mean, I'm planning for an engine failure ditch, like, every step of the way this entire trip, each
Oh
way
my
and
god.
locally. Like, we have a life raft, survival kit, bear spray, axe, fire starter,
Bear
shelter.
spray. Good gravy.
Oh, yep, and we were
How
gonna
many
I had a
pilots bring that?
so I have a pilot friend who lives in Alaska. He flies for Alaska Airlines. He does GA, and he opened my eyes. So I was gonna bring a defense, like a self-defense gun for, like, if we get attacked by bears, and he actually talked me out of it. I was sold on bringing this gun, and he said it takes so many different escape routes out of the equation because you can't take a pistol into Canada. You get arrested, it
Yeah.
gets confiscated. It's a big deal. So no pistols. And then I
Incidentally.
think back to rifles require permit work and airports of arrival and customs clearances and things like that. And I don't know if we'll land in Canada at all. So doing all the paperwork for something that's not going to happen, or having the paperwork for the airport we don't land at because we divert for an emergency or for weather, it just wasn't worth it. He said, "Just leave the gun at home, and
All
if you
right.
need to call search and rescue, do it."
I don't know about grizzly bears. I don't know about Canada, but I just saw a video. It was yesterday, or the day before. YouTube, somewhere up in, I believe it was Alaska, like way up north Alaska, Ketchikan, or I don't even know, like the
Ketchikan's like
North
the
Pole.
furthest south part of Alaska, but anyway,
Okay, the other
the
side of
other side.
Alaska.
All right.
So there's a video of this polar bear just kind of sitting in the midst of this housing development, and a man appears in the video, and the bear starts chasing the man, and the man is running. He makes it to his snowmobile, which apparently he left running and hopped on and goes away. But in the comments, I read that it is the law in this town that you must leave your vehicle unlocked at all times so that someone being chased by a polar bear has an escape route. So
Wow.
that's an
Okay.
option for you. Yeah,
I'll consider that. We're going to leave the plane doors unlocked at
there
all
you go.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think hiding in a Cessna is going to get, they could probably just smash through those plastic windshields. But yeah, so hopefully we can depart over the Rockies in the morning. There's like 3 mountain ranges to cross to get there. So there's the first set of Rockies that everybody knows that start, down in Denver, extends all the way north, and it gets a little lower because you have the 14,000-foot mountains of Colorado, and then if you get
Yes.
up to Montana, they're 9 and 10,000 foot. So we're hoping to go through some area not that high, and then we can go up to 11 or 12,000 feet and clear those Rockies, weather permitting. If the weather is not good, we'll have to find another plan because we can't take our plane high enough for IFR altitudes there. The the MEA, the minimum in route altitudes, are 12, 13, 14,000. I mean, we might be able to in some areas, but we're going to go way out of the way to have to do it. So we're trying to avoid that. Anyway, hopefully we can get a day flight over the Rockies and get to Washington State, which is where we'll make another decision. Are we going to go up the coast or are we going to go inland?
Yeah. Up the coast would
Yeah.
be fantastic because there are fewer hills over the water.
That's the thing is like, hey, if the cloud deck comes down on us and the freezing layer is up there and we get forced down by sinking clouds, you can't hit, there's no mountains in the ocean. So, you can go as low as sea level and still survive it. That was
Yeah,
kind of
but
the game plan with coastal route.
is that preferable though? Is there a flat piece of land, a beach, an airport anywhere along that coast, or is water your number one option?
So the plan is, after conferring with some other pilots that have experience in this, is if there's a road or a town you can see, and I'm going to have the maps kind of downloaded, the offline maps on Google, so I
Yeah.
can zoom in and see, say we lose our engine, 3 miles offshore, at 8,000 feet, we can glide 4 or 5 miles. If I can't make it to a road or a village of some sort, there's too many tall trees. Like I don't want to get stuck in the treetops. All our survival gear will be stuck up in the treetops. So the plan is to aim for as shallow water as you can. So as close to where water meets land. Even 3 or 4 feet of water is fine, right? Because we can
Yeah.
still get out, stand up, grab our gear, and make it to shore and start a fire and all the survival courses. And man,
And you're
it's been
downloading
awesome.
maps? There's no in-flight Wi-Fi on this
No,
airliner?
unfortunately, I was considering getting the Starlink, the little portable Starlink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in a previous episode. They jacked their prices up for the little airplane pilots
Did they
recently.
really?
But I mean, yeah, can you really put a price on, having Wi-Fi?
I don't know. Sirius XM works in Canada. I don't know if it works out over the coast. Do they have a map feature? Probably not.
I don't. Well, I
Probably
was
not
gonna
with airports.
Well, I have the aviation maps downloaded in my iPad, all our navigation software. We have terrain and all that, his GPS software. But also the new iPhones all have satellite messaging. So
That's
even if
right.
you're completely
I'm just
remote,
thinking of
you
like
can still.
weather radar and any of that that you might want to
So
have.
his plane has NextRad, so it is slightly delayed radar images.
Okay.
And I have what's called the Garmin Scout. It's a USB powered receiver of weather and traffic, and I'm going to plug that into a little solar pack and let that power. But eventually, you do get outside of the antennas that transmit that information. So there will be
Tell,
gaps where we won't have it.
tell me about this little solar pack you're bringing.
So I got those charge packs everybody puts in their purse or their pocket, or you probably have one in your
Yeah.
backpack for when you're,
Yes.
yeah, just to recharge stuff when you're not near a charger, right?
It's like the size of a little vape pen, and my friend
So
Yeah, you
this
could.
one's massive. It's not a vape pen, but you have a vape. Yeah, you have a friend that can
You gonna be
use up the
vaping on the
size.
way up? I know you're
I
big
don't
into
know.
that.
I don't know
Is
how
your
the other guy's gonna feel about it. I brought a pack of Zyn for emergencies. If I have a caffeine,
Okay.
or not a caffeine, a nicotine fix, right?
Uh-huh.
I also brought caffeine. So here's the three E's that have gotten me through my career: caffeine, protein, nicotine. The three E's
All
that
right.
make freight fly. That's what I used to say.
Well,
So
I'm interested in this solar pack because one of my all-time fantasies is to crash on a desert island somewhere, be the only survivor, and have one of those solar packs to power my phone so I can still enjoy my music.
that's what you. I'm going to be using it to send an SOS, but okay.
No, no, I'm gonna then my message. I forget me. I'm dead. Don't come looking.
Oh my gosh. So this my wife actually bought this on Amazon. She is the queen of finding useful stuff on Amazon. So we had these battery packs for years where the back of this it's about the size of a really big iPhone, maybe twice as thick.
That's all.
I'm trying to think of what to compare the size to. A small tissue box, like the
Okay.
skinny little tissue boxes that you
Yeah.
have in like hotel rooms and stuff, right? So
Hmm.
I'd say it's inch and a half thick and 6 inches by 4 inches. So
That's not very
I don't
big
know
at
what.
all.
No, it's not, and it doesn't weigh hardly anything.
I
But
I've seen them elder play. They're like the size of a. I mean, they come in various sizes. I've seen 'em like the
yeah,
size of a laptop, or you unfold a
yep.
laptop and you roll it up, and there's more to it.
So the when I was flying with you, I have this really thin, slim one. It doesn't have a solar charger. It's just a battery bank, but it's slim, and I think it's like 4 by 8 inches, and it slid really comfortably in the little flat pocket where your laptop goes, and it doesn't
Yeah.
take up any bulk. But I'm taking that one for my personal use, but for survival's sake, this other battery bank she got has a tri-folded solar panel that like unfolds out of the battery bank. So it looks like a wallet. I'll have to show it to you one day or
Yeah.
something, but yeah, so it unfolds this 3-panel solar charger comes out of it and actively charges the pack, which
Yeah. I should.
that would help.
Do you- Yeah. Speaking of Amazon, today is the last day of Prime Day. Maybe I should go on and see if they can find one. Otherwise, my fantasy will never come true.
I'll let you mine after I get done with it. Hopefully, I don't ever need it.
maybe, maybe that's all we find.
Gosh, yeah,
You know?
that's all you ever find of me is the solar charge fact.
Yeah.
They'll look it up on AI by searching the text of this podcast. Who are these
That's
2
it.
skeletons? And all the meat's been eaten off of them by bears and fish. It's funny because the other guy, he's like the optimist and I'm the pessimist. So this is gonna be great. I can't wait. I'm so excited. We're gonna get there. We're gonna do Alaska. We're gonna go fishing. We're gonna go hiking. And I'm like,
Yeah.
here are the points over the next 20 hours where we may need to ditch. Here's the point where we might crash. Here's the point where we hit a mountain. And so I'm looking at it like I'm very professional about this, and it's funny that the yin and yang happening here because while he's gung ho and excited to cross the Rockies, I'm actually not gung ho about
Yeah,
crossing the Rockies.
all that optimism would make me very nervous if I were you. Yeah.
We're fine. Let's go. No,
No,
he's not
because
that.
that's when you
He's a
make
safe pilot.
mistakes,
Yes,
you
exactly.
know?
So our software, our for flight planning software has a terrain feature where you tell it exactly what altitude you're going to fly and what your route is. And it has, if you click the profile view on for flight, it has the lateral view or the vertical view, if you will, of your flight and its projection over terrain plus or minus X amount of miles on either side of your course. So I have the corridor width set to like 8 miles. So I got 4 miles on either side of our planned path. And if I plan to fly from A to B, and at that altitude puts us below the top of terrain, it turns red. So it's like, hey, this spot, you might hit something. Yellow, you might barely clear it. So I've got this really well planned out. And if for some reason we change course, and as long as I change it in the software, it'll alert me that we're going to hit something before I get there. So that's nice.
Good. So, okay, day or night 2, you've made it
Uh,
to Washington
Day two, Washington, and maybe a possibility we just keep going up the coast if weather permits and just tough it out. I got Monster
all the way?
Energy, I got Alani, I got caffeine, protein,
Hold on a minute, hold
nicotine.
on. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you about your snack supply, but first of all, you're talking about going all the way from somewhere, Montana or North Dakota,
Yeah,
all the
to
way to
Alaska.
Juneau on day 2?
So Great Falls to Seattle is supposed to be a little less than 4 hours, and then Seattle to Ketchikan will be 4 hours. So
Really?
it's 8 hours in the air. Yep,
That's doable.
it is. That's what I'm saying. So if
That
I get a good night's sleep after we get to Fargo, we may be able to, or sorry, after we get to Montana, day two we might make it all the way to Alaska proper. It'll be Ketchikan, even though our wives will be in Juneau. So what I'm hoping is if everything works out for us, we could just have a guys' night in Ketchikan. Park the plane, go get a hotel on points, right? Because I kept
Yeah,
all my points.
because your rental is to the third day, right? So you can't check in.
Exactly. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, the other option of this is we get socked in 3 or 4 of these stops, and the wives get there without us, and they're having coffee and tea time at the Airbnb without us, which
Or
they'd enjoy that just as well.
or the third option is after 2 days of putting up with each other, you get to catch a can and you're like, where's the nearest grizzly bear so I can give it this guy a, you know.
So that's all we've been joking so much about that. We were talking like bear spray. We got 2 cans, but 4 adults. Who's gonna hold them? And the joke's been like, well, I don't have to be the fastest of the group. I just have to not be the last, right? When the bear's
Yeah.
chasing us.
Yep.
And he's like, I'll just kick your ass in the knee so that you have to hobble, and then I'm gonna make it out of here just fine. So we've been teasing each other about
That's a
that, or
great
which one
strategy.
the wives
Yeah.
will trip us and they'll get out of there. As long as we're trip and fall on our face. They don't need to run fast. They just have to
I
be faster
mean,
than us.
are you going to be out in the wilderness up there or is this like,
So in the listing for the VRBO cabin that we rented is a picture of a bear in the front yard.
boy?
Yeah, and deer and other things. Like it's in the freaking wilderness. It's beautiful though. Like
Uh-huh.
it's kind of elevated, looking up the where all the cruise ships go to get to Skagway. The glacier that the cruise ships all
Yeah.
come up.
Yeah.
So it overlooks the inlet, the channel where all those cruise ships come up. So we'll watch cruise ships come and go throughout the week. We had a 15-20 minute ride to the airport from our house where our plane will sit, and then we can use it as necessary. So it should be a lot of fun when we get there. But the big challenge in there's like you said, there's no terrain over the Pacific Ocean in our route, but it just feels weird because the route we have a point of no return. There'll be a point during that flight where we don't have enough fuel to go back to Washington State. So
Yeah.
if that happens, we'll be an emergency diversion in Canada, and then we'll be doing paperwork and talking talking to some officers for a while. This can't
Could
be
be
the first
worse.
time anyone's ever done it, right? Like,
No, of course not. And we're
yeah.
making a big to do out of it, but I bet people do have done this plenty. I would say this: if you can make it in 2 days and you have yourself a little a boys' day before the wives show up, that might be a better way because you get there day 3, you're so sick and tired of it, and you're exhausted, and then the ladies are all,
Hey, no, they're not like that. They're gonna be like, "Let's go for a flight," and we're like, "We just spent 22 hours next to each other. We're good on flights for a little bit."
yeah,
But to be honest with you, we'll have our own aerial tour of the whole Southeast Alaska.
yeah, you
Like,
will.
you wanna go
That'd
fly
be
over the
awesome.
glacier? Let's go fly over the glacier. Hey, you wanna go fly to a little town and a village and just walk around town like tourists? And,
You're
one
gonna
of those towns that
record. You should record your flight up the coast.
that would be
Put
cool.
put
Maybe I could do like a
yeah.
time lapse on a device.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
I did that once. I did that once from where was I? Seattle or Portland or somewhere like that to Las Vegas. I just
Okay.
I propped the time lapse right on my dashboard there, and it
Yep.
captured that whole 2.5, 3 hour flight in about 30 seconds,
Oh, that's cool, and you can just play it fast forward for everybody.
or slow forward, slow reverse. So, all right, good. Now, let me ask you this: you told me about this trip about a week ago.
Yeah,
How long has the planning been underway?
a month and a half.
So that's a bit. And is that a month and a half of you guys deciding you want to do this, or a month and a half of you looking into what you need to do to survive?
So we decided, I think 3 or 4. So my wife had to close. So they're both ophthalmologists. The pilot I'm flying with that owns the airplane and my wife. So they know each other from like the medical stuff. And both of them need to close their clinics to be able to do this. So this took months of plan. Like they had to block it off the schedule, knowing that this week there won't be any patients in the office. The office is closed for both his business and my wife's. And then I just had to put in a vacation request, right? Easy peasy. Different for me than them. So we've known about this for a few months. It just the planning phase, there was like a 2 month kind of generic planning of like how far can we go? What are we gonna pack? Are we gonna book something? Then 2 months ago is when I booked like the rental and the rental car, house. We just 2 or 3 weeks ago I booked a fishing charter for midweek so that we have some slush factor for the weather on either end, if they have to move it up a day or back a day. Uh, Yeah, just a lot of planning, like a lot of planning. And once we get there, it's like poof, it opens up. What are we gonna do today? I don't know, drink coffee, sleep. That's
Yeah.
probably what I'm gonna want to do. I'm gonna get to Alaska and not want to go do Alaska. I'm gonna want to sleep
No, of course. How long will you be there?
5 days. Sunday night to Friday night. Yeah,
Yeah, you better do as
yeah.
much as you can
So
in 5
y-
days.
I know by the time I catch up with the time zone, the 4 hour shift, it's gonna it's gonna end up I'm like just barely catching up to the time shift before we leave.
No, no. Now, it's summertime. Is it gonna be
20
perpetual
hours.
sunlight?
Yeah, it's like
20
20
hours of
hours, something like
sunlight.
6. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. But I'm sure
Yeah,
that you know what, they've gotta know this. They gotta have dark shades or something in the unit so you can go to sleep.
they know. Absolutely,
Yeah.
they know. But you, I don't.
Well, hopefully they do that. Like they put the blackout shades or something in the room, I'd imagine.
It was a movie. It was Robin Williams was he was a killer. He worked
Oh,
at a
really?
photo 1 hour photo. That's the name of the movie,
I
and it
heard
takes
of that.
place. Yeah, it's really good movie. And the cop that goes up there to investigate, he's not a local, so he's really struggles with the daylight hours. You might watch that for a little bit of psychological prep work
Okay. I
if
was
you've
thinking,
never.
have you seen 40 Days of Night, the horror
N-
movie?
no.
You know who Josh Hartnett is? He was in Pearl Harbor with
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
with Ben Affleck. He is
Yes.
like a sheriff in Alaska before it goes dark for 40 days straight, like the darkest time of winter or whatever. And, I guess, like, the vampires find the village.
That's fun.
Excuse my alarm. I don't know why I'm alarming.
You should be alarmed, but based on what you're about to do, I'm alarmed for
Oh,
you.
crap. Hey, I've actually got to cut a sh I completely forgot I gotta bring my boys to tennis in 10 minutes,
Oh
so
my god. All
they
right.
have tennis I am so sorry, man. Do you wanna, like,
Well,
round 2 tonight, or
we could round
how
2. Yeah, I would love to know if
how
you're
long has
if
this
this
recording been?
we
27
we're
minutes?
at 27 minutes. So, yeah,
Well, it
we can
could
do
be
that.
the
Whatever.
last 27-minute episode that we record if I end up at the side of a mountain, but, well,
I'll
hopefully not then.
Well, with any luck, we finish this. If not, I will inform the audience if you ever make it. Well,
Alright, well,
if you make it, you'll tell us yourself. If not, I'll tell
yes,
them.
and if not, yeah, replace me with somebody good, alright? It better not be
Yeah,
some
yeah.
vapor
All
or
right.
something.
Go to tennis club. Let me know. We'll
Oh
redo
my
it.
gosh. I'm
Okay.
so sorry. Thanks.
That's why you
Oh,
had the alarm.
jeez.
Okay.
Gosh. Alright. See ya.
Bye.